You know that feeling when you're listening to a story and you can see everything, the characters, the world, playing out perfectly in your head? That is the absolute magic of audio drama. Today, we're going to break down how you can go from being a listener to a creator and build your very first world out of sound. Let's get into it.
I just love this quote. It perfectly captures what makes audio so special. Think about it. There are no budget constraints on your imagination. No special effects are too expensive. No fantasy world is too grand to build. If you can dream it up, you can build it with sound. It's that simple.
So where do we start on this journey? Well, it begins with the most important creative tool you have. And no, it's not a microphone. It's your ears, which brings us right to phase one.
Before you even think about writing a single word of your own, you've got to become a student of the craft. This whole first phase is about actively consuming audio drama, not just passively listening while you do the dishes.
Creator Gabriel Urbina calls this the single most important rule, and he's not kidding. By really immersing yourself in other audio dramas, you're not just being entertained, you're learning. You're absorbing the unique skills, the challenges, and all the amazing possibilities of telling a story with nothing but sound.
So, what should you listen to? Everything. Seriously, go back and check out the classics from the golden age of radio, like the Mercury Theater. Explore modern smash hits. Find shows that are just completely bonkers and experimental. Your goal here is to build an arsenal of techniques. Listen to understand how they did it and what's actually possible.
All right, so your head is full of inspiration and ideas. It's time to create the actual blueprint for your world, the script. This is where all that listening starts to transform into writing.
Now, writing for audio has its own weird physics. As writer Gabriel Urbina points out, something like a space mutant plant monster is surprisingly easy. You just need a few squelchy, gross sound effects, and you're there. But a simple hug, or someone pointing a gun? Without visuals, that's incredibly difficult to convey. You always have to be thinking, what can the audience hear, not what can they see?
So here's a pretty solid workflow to get you started. First, you've done your homework. Check. Next, try structuring your story backwards. Seriously, think about it. Where do you want your audience to be, emotionally, at the very end of the episode? Start there and then build the path that gets them to that feeling. And finally, outline everything. This is your safety net, your roadmap.
And let's be really clear about this. An outline is not a prison. It's a roadmap. It's just a tool to help you connect the dots and guide your structure when you inevitably get lost in the woods. It's not there to dictate every single word. You have got to trust your audience. Instead of having a character say something like, "Wow, I am so angry right now," let their tone of voice, their word choice, or even a sudden silence do the heavy lifting. Your listeners are smart. They will connect the dots.
Okay, you've got a script in hand. Now it's time to move from the page to the microphone. This is the build phase. This is where we take that blueprint and start constructing the actual, real-deal audio experience. And this is often where that pesky imposter syndrome kicks in hard. Producer Fred Greenhall's advice is perfect and simple. Just acknowledge the fear, and then keep calm and carry on. You just have to push through it and make your thing.
As the producer, you're suddenly wearing a lot of hats. You're in charge of casting the right voices, directing their performances, making sure you capture clean audio, and then building the entire world with sound design. You are the architect of the whole experience.
But here's the great news. You absolutely do not need $1 million studio. A good USB microphone, a decent pair of headphones, and free software like Audacity or the very affordable Reaper is literally all you need to get professional sounding results right from your own home.
And please, remember this. Sound design is not just background noise. It's everything. The creak of a floorboard, a distant siren, the low hum of a starship's engine. These aren't just effects. They're your sets, your props, and your costumes. They are what builds the entire world for your listener.
So, you've written, you've recorded, you have built your world. We're in the home stretch now. It's time for the final phase, the polish. This is where you put all those finishing touches on your creation and get it ready for the world to hear.
A huge part of this phase is learning how to handle feedback. And this analogy is just perfect. If one person gives you a note, well, that might just be their opinion. But if you start hearing the same critique from 2, 3, 4 different people, that's a pattern. And patterns are always worth listening to.
And you know, through this whole entire process, you have to be kind to yourself. As Gabriel Urbina says, finishing a single scene
is a victory. Rewriting one bad line is a victory. You have to celebrate these small accomplishments because they're the fuel that's going to get you all the way to the finish line. So if you ever feel lost and need a guiding light, just remember these 3 principles from the legendary Stephen Sondheim. First, let the content dictate the form. Second, remember that less is almost always more. And third, God is in the details. That's where the real magic happens.
So there you have it. You've got the tools, you've got the roadmap. The only limit, truly, is your own imagination. The world of audio drama is more exciting and more accessible than it has ever been. So really, the only question left to ask is, what story are you going to tell and what will it sound like?